Beating the Ender Dragon starting from one vanilla Minecraft block is impossible, right? Well, that's what everyone thought, but through the community's effort, insane dedication, and some of Minecraft's best players obsessing over this problem, Minecraft's impossible challenge was finally about to be broken. This whole journey started over 14 years ago when the map Skyblock was created. And this would quickly become one of the most popular genres in Minecraft history because just 29 days later, one of the largest Minecraft creators ever would play the map for the first time, unknowingly starting this whole journey.
All we've got are the blocks at our feet, this tree, and what is inside this chest. We've spawned on this very small landmass in the middle of Oblivion, and it begins with building a cobblestone generator.
This was the main strategy at the time. Since you were given a block of ice and a bucket of lava in the chest, the smartest play was to use them to make a cobblestone generator. And this was absolutely crucial in expanding your base. And even for back then, they were able to make their base surprisingly interesting. But for now, these challenges just kind of ended whenever the players built a decent enough base and decided to call it quits. That's why in 2012, we started to see a massive change in the way people played. We saw a bunch of other YouTubers jump on this trend.
Today we are playing Skyblock, okay?
And we saw a bunch of different challenges emerge, whether that was adding more people and competition.
I thought we were gonna be friends. I thought we were gonna be friends. Come on, guys. Oh, God!
Or restraining the resources they were allowed to use to make this challenge even harder. No cobblestone generators, no lava, no farming, no mobs. This is the line of thinking that would eventually lead us to only having one block. But the community at the time was not ready for that. Although there was some really popular spin-offs that soon came out of this.
It's called Skygrid. It's a survival map for single player or multiplayer, sort of in the same vein as Skyblock.
And I remember watching YouTubers like Allier and other people grind this map when it first came out. Oh my god, this was my childhood. Until this genre just kind of fizzled out for a few years. People were moving on to different concepts like simulating civilizations, 100 player challenges, and just huge spectacles. But of course, just like with anything, just because the majority of people moved on from this doesn't mean that everyone moved on from this. There were still players and creators carrying the torch of Skyblock.
I think Skyblock at its core is the ultimate challenge in resource management. You spawn on a tiny island in an empty universe. All you have is a tree, some supplies, and some dirt to stand on. You have to treasure every dirt block because if one falls into the void, there's no way to replace it. And as you carefully navigate your absurd circumstance, you gain a new appreciation for the few things you have as you meticulously use them to their fullest effect. With nothing but some ice, lava, and saplings, you slowly transform this empty expanse into a world of your very own. Skyblock teaches us that no matter how ridiculous the odds may seem, within us resides the power to overcome these challenges and achieve something beautiful. That one day, we'll look back at where we started and be amazed by how far we've come.
In 2020, everything changed. The Skyblock genre had a massive surge of popularity once again, all thanks to the newly invented challenge of the one block.
If you don't know what one block Minecraft is, basically you spawn on one block, this block is unlimited and it always respawns. It can also spawn chests, animals, and mobs. There are 10 different phases, and the last phase is the end portal. And my goal is to defeat the Ender Dragon.
This was a modded version of a single vanilla block map made by Jokey Pokey, but no one really was ready for this. That's why this modded version became very popular. Now, this was nowhere near as challenging as what this would soon become, but this version was very new and interesting. For instance, this block that randomly regenerates would sometimes spawn mobs.
A couple blocks later, my girlfriend's sister just spawned.
So you could collect them and build a farm or do whatever you want. Not only that, but the block would also upgrade after a certain while. So you'd get a lot of different things that you wouldn't expect. And this allowed players to get creative while also relying on luck to build their base. But what's really interesting about this new game mode is that it would also spice things up and try to make it very dangerous by throwing mobs at you.
These two zombies spawned and I thought I was gonna die. I was panicking. I didn't have a sword, I didn't have a shield, and I had nowhere to go. I was actually so scared for some reason. And of course they both spawned with helmets so they couldn't burn in the sun. I then jumped on top of my chests and I killed them both.
By day 20, he was able to collect a bunch of saplings, grow them, and get enough resources to build a pretty cool house. By day 30, he had a pretty decent animal farm, and just 2 days after this, we get to see more of the challenges this map would throw at you. And on the 39th day, he managed to build a complete creeper farm. Now, he made a lot of progress over the next 30 or so days, and by day 78, he finally made a nether portal.
And I was ready to go. I had a couple of pickaxes, I had some gold to trade with. The second I spawned, my worst fear happened. A ghast came and he shot a fireball at me. For some reason, my bow didn't shoot, and he almost broke my nether portal. That would have been so bad.
And this is actually a huge difference. As you can see, his nether looks completely normal, but compared to the impossible challenge later on, the nether will only be 1 block. And well, by day 100, a cookie god had a pretty cool looking base, but he wasn't able to beat the ender dragon like he set out to. But we saw a lot of other YouTubers picking up this challenge and beating the ender dragon, all from this one regenerating block. But still, no one at this point had even considered beating the original 1 vanilla block challenge. No one thought it was possible. I mean, how could you get enough resources to beat the ender dragon with just 1 block that didn't regenerate infinite amount of times? But this would all change on June 30th, 2022, when a very small YouTuber named Pino would upload his first ever Minecraft video. And little did anyone know, he was about to make Minecraft history. Now, he was inspired by Jokey Pokey, that one map that no one ever seriously tried. But unlike everyone else, Pino was actually going to attempt this.
Then we have to see how far we can make it. Let me tell you that almost all items in Minecraft are obtainable starting from this very island.
Now, this was an 8-episode series, and this first episode really highlights just how much time, dedication, and knowledge it takes to get past this 1 block hurdle. He had to sit on this vanilla block for hundreds of hours and employ specific strategies to get a zombie with a shovel. And now, why did he need this shovel specifically? It all comes down to getting snow blocks from snowballs. Enderskull, another player who would soon attempt this challenge, explains it very well.
To get a snowball, you need to be in a biome where it snows, then pick up the snow layers that form on the ground with a shovel. And conveniently, zombies have a chance to spawn holding an iron shovel, and when killed, have a chance to drop it. So, if we can get a zombie with a shovel to spawn, then kill it and have it drop its shovel with good durability, we'll be set.
This is where the second part of the strategy needs to be employed, because he needs to be a certain amount of distance from the block in order for a zombie to spawn. However, he can't fall too far down, or else he'll go so far that any zombies that spawn will actually just despawn. So he had to purposefully let his hunger go all the way down so he starts taking damage, and then perfectly time his fall so that he falls off and dies right at the sweet spot. And now he had to do this thousands of times to try and get that zombie spawn. He first ran into a creeper.
Oh my... Dude, that scared the out of me.
But eventually, after nearly 2,500 attempts, he finally got the zombie spawn he was looking for.
Oh my god, I am the best player in the entire world.
Now this is where the third strategy comes into play, and this is extremely important. We already know he needs that shovel for snowballs, but if he attacks the zombie like you normally would, the zombie would get knocked back, falling into the void, bringing the shovel with it. So he had to deploy an insanely niche strategy to push the zombie to the absolute edge of this block, while he stands on the complete opposite corner, and for whatever reason, it doesn't hit you. He explains why, but it's really complicated. And so not only that, not only do you need to get the zombie in this perfect spot, you then need to sit there and wait until the zombie can die to the sun. So he did. He waited over 2 hours until it was finally time, and all he had to do was not let the zombie fall with the shovel. Bruh. But thankfully, he would use save states to reset if something like this happened, so we could then try again for the best durability shovel possible. He finally got it.
Oh my god. Dude, that is perfect.
Now he finally was able to add 1 snow block, and this may not seem like a big deal, but this was a massive hurdle to get past, because now he gets snow twice as fast, and he already has the shovel, so this didn't take too much longer to expand this world into a pretty long straight line. And the reason this straight line structure is so important is because this allowed him to get far enough away from the other side so that mobs could now spawn there, and he no longer had to jump off and perfectly time his HP and do this whole big ordeal. But his shovel broke. so he needed another, and he had to wait hours again until he finally got his next opportunity. And he kept trying until he could get a very good shovel.
What? 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 Dude, that is probably the luckiest I'm gonna save this world before I die.
Now he added a little mob trap here to make his job easier and expanded his base, allowing even more mobs like slimes and foxes to spawn. And these were absolutely crucial in terms of making progress. And now his base was looking pretty good in all directions, but he still needed more resources from these mobs if he was to continue making progress towards killing the Ender Dragon. But that's where this first episode ended. And it wasn't until 20 days later he released episode 2 showing his insane progress. Now these foxes that were now spawning also dropped emeralds sometimes. So after grabbing a few, his next step was to wait until a wandering trader spawned. And it took forever until one finally did. And this was really important because it allowed him a special way to get a sapling.
You can place these out in a 3x3 area and with a little tip on the end. And then if we start bone mealing the moss blocks, then we have a chance of a azalea tree sapling spawning. And then we can bone meal said sapling to get a tree. And that's basically the way we're gonna get wood.
This was a massive step in acquiring new resources. This led him to build a fully wood base, create a mob farm, even building a renewable water source. And just a few days later, he dropped episode 3, where he made even more insane progress towards beating the Ender Dragon. Because in this episode, he went through insane measures to locate exactly where the stronghold is. The place in Minecraft with the only portal to the end. And this is the only location that was allowed to spawn besides the one starter block. But now that he copied the seed of this map and put it in a normal version of Minecraft so he could locate where the stronghold was, he was able to find the exact coordinates and bring that information back to his 1-block world. And he built a 2,500 block bridge to go get to it. And this also allowed him to collect lava and bring it home and build a cobblestone generator. Oh my god, the difference between building a cobblestone generator in this map and how easily it was to do it in the original Skyblock, oh my god. But the job wasn't done just yet. This allowed him to expand his base even further with infinite cobblestone, and only a week later, he dropped episode 4, where he would finally build a nether portal. This was also 1 block, so the nether was extremely hard as well, and he would slowly but safely expand his base in the nether, and utilize it to build a gold piglin farm, which he would then use to trade with other piglins for resources. Now, episode 5 of this series wouldn't drop for around 2 months, and you'll understand why. He had to do a lot of waiting again, because his main objective was to build this massive platform so that wandering traders could spawn, and he had to wait for the perfect wandering trader until he eventually got an oak sapling. This gave him access to apples, and he expanded both his iron farm and created a much better food supply. The next episode, episode 6, is very close to the end of this challenge. He could now trade carrots for emeralds reliably instead of relying on the RNG from foxes. His base was becoming truly remarkable. And then episode 7 came out, where all of his preparation and insane patience was finally set to pay off. He farmed blaze rods from another fortress and combined them with ender pearls to craft Eyes of Ender, finally being able to activate the end portal.
The end. Oh, that sound You ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
All the way from 1 vanilla block. And now he just had to take on the Ender Dragon. But he was barely making any progress because he didn't realize the Ender Dragon was still being healed. And then
I guess it worked out in the end.
Now interestingly, Pino would end this by bridging to end cities, looting for an elytra, and getting really good enchanted gear. And then he just fell off the face of the earth until updating this series 1 year later, until again, vanishing. Okay, but this wasn't the end of the story. Pino was the very first person to pull this off, and it would inspire others, knowing it was now possible to follow suit. Budget MC came out with his own series following a very similar start path, but he never beat the Ender Dragon. And then a creator named Beppo really popularized this challenge by condensing it all into one epic video that went absolutely viral. You've probably seen it. You see, he also used the techniques that Pino first used to make it past the first block, getting the shovel for snow blocks, expanding with snow blocks,
We've doubled our world size.
getting emeralds from foxes, waiting for the wandering villager, but he also had a few differences that made it a bit more challenging. For instance, Beppo didn't build massive farms. Instead, he was treating this more as a speed run to beat the Ender Dragon, whereas Pino was leaning heavily into expanding the world and building a bunch of things. Beppo had just one goal. Not to mention, Pino constantly used tricks to speed up the RNG process, like increasing the tick rate of the game to increase mob spawns. However, Beppo was only allowed to do this once. And one of the biggest differences was the actual end portal. In Beppo's run, this was also a void world, whereas in Pino's run, it wasn't. This would make the final battle much more challenging.
Dude, there's nothing. There aren't even the obsidian pillars. It's just a dragon way over there. There's not even a bedrock. Wait, there's no portal. Where is he gonna perch? Oh no. Can I hit these? Oh, there we go. I got that one. He's... Okay. And he's flying right at me. I don't like that. Okay, come on. No, no.
And that is the entire history of Minecraft's most impossible challenge.